In life, we are on a constant pursuit for our slice of the pie. The pie comes in many forms, whether it's starting a business, higher education, pursuing a career, raising a family, and the list continues. The burdens we face during our pursuit is lessened when we are financially fit. The Breadwinners created a platform where we can discuss finances and entrepreneurship in a judgment-free space. We're striving to encourage healthy financial discussions amongst our peers to capture our slice, until we no longer want a slice and would rather bake our own cake.
You know, TV dads was like our ish growing up. I mean, for us in the 90s, we had TGI Friday, right? Yeah. And that was like, man, my ish. And like in the 90s, my favorite TV dad was Uncle Phil. I mean, who wouldn't want to live in a pool house in Bel Air and drive a Benz, right? Literally. Man, but yeah, it's crazy. So growing up, who was your favorite TV dad?
Favorite TV dad growing up? That's a good one. I would have to say I'm a Fred Flintstone.
Fred Flintstone?
I'm a Fred Flintstone guy.
Oh, elaborate.
And the reason why is because Fred Flintstone would go and get it, no matter what, right? And he had a good buddy. My dad always had a real good close friend and was like, they homies all around. And it was just real in tight type of close-knit thing. And I always been like that with my family, close-knit. So I kind of get that from a Fred Flintstone, even though it's kind of different, but it is.
Yeah, that is the first.
Yeah.
But it's so cool though. Yeah. Like I like it because it's crazy how much we grow up, you know, have an influence on us, especially when you think about it from a financial perspective, because emotions plays a huge role in money, right? Our financial decisions. You know, I can only imagine how many different influences I have, tons. Yeah. But when it comes to specifically to car buying, how much of a role or impact does that emotion play into buying that car?
So for me, I think you have people who get so attached, man, to their vehicles to the point where they don't even want to sell them sometimes. You know, that's how attached they get. But emotion-wise, I would say a lot of it for social media. Sometimes people get into buying cars and they don't even know they can afford that car. Like, you know, you're dreaming a little too much, you know what I mean? Because you see it on social media and it's like, I want that. You know, you get attached to some type of lifestyle that you've seen thing. So I would say emotion is huge for it. I tell people you need to narrow it down to what you want and what you need are two separate things. You know what I mean?
Man.
And they get a little attached to what they think that they want and what they really need, you know what I mean? It's two separate things. So I try to make sure they understand that.
Yeah, that is so crazy. But when it comes to you, it's like I'm already ready to buy a car. I'm past the planning stage. It's like I'm here, I'm now. Here's what it is, and let's go. And I know that's crazy. That is. So every time I'm on Facebook, dude, I'm like, this dude sold another car. This dude sold another car. So Darius, man, please tell the world who you are and what brands you represent and all that stuff.
I tell you, I'm thankful, bro. Seriously, I'm like 43 months in now, you know, so a little over 3 years. I got into the car business completely out of nowhere. Like, it wasn't something that I was looking forward to of doing or anything like that. But it's been huge for me. I am in Pittsburgh, you know, and I am a part of Number One Cochran, which is the #1 automotive leading business in Western Pennsylvania.
Okay.
He's up to, Cochran, we have 18 brands now.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so we have 27, 28, somewhere around there, showrooms. And I have access to all of them, so it's huge. It's like having like you're an entrepreneur, like you have your own business within the business, you know what I mean? So, and I'm that guy as far as it goes for, you know, you looking for a car, I'm here. And, you know, I tell my customers, I'm customer loyal, not brand loyal, you know, because if you want a Chevy or you want a Nissan or you want a GMC, whatever it may be, I want to guide you to that way and show you how the process goes. So it's been huge for me. And then having that ability to cross-sell, is what's made it even more bigger for me as far as branching out with limited inventory and stuff like that. I have like a bigger umbrella to choose from and things too. So.
Yeah, that is so dope. And that's one thing I didn't know, because I know initially it was Nissan. I saw a lot of Nissans. And then I started seeing Chevys, and I started seeing all these other brands. And I'm like, yo, what cars do you sell?
Seriously, and it's crazy because you say that like even back home, or like I got people who's close to me who be looking for a car. Like, I don't want a Nissan because that's where I'm brand at. That's where I'm certified in, I should say. So like I get paid from Nissan too. Now these other brands, if I sell a brand new GMC or something, I wouldn't get paid from GMC. It would just still be from Cochran. So a lot of people think because I post Nissan a lot because that's where I'm stationed at, that's the only brand, So I try to capitalize on taking pictures with other people, as far as it goes when it's different brands, because then they're like, oh, he got this brand, he can sell that, he got Dodge, so it opens it up for me for sure.
Yeah, that is dope. That is. I mean, it's just like another feature, and it's like another skill set you have. Like playing basketball, you can shoot the three, you can drive, the whole triple threat. I think that is so fire.
Yeah.
And you can make way more money too, though.
Yeah, literally. And then it doesn't station you like, you're not stuck right here like, oh, this is all I got on the lot. You know what I mean? It's like, no, I got this. Oh, you were looking at that? Oh, let's drive over there. I'll meet you there. So it's been huge.
Dude, that is so dope. And you mentioned you've been in the game for about 43 months. And how did that process happen for you to end up selling cars?
So I was actually in engineering. So I graduated college, I got a job right out the gate, really. And I was doing land surveying. And I would say I was there for 7 years.
Yeah.
Kind of hit a ceiling. And my dad opened up a unisex salon, right? And he was like, man, I want to get the shop out there. I want people to know what we're doing. So he's like, let's have a comedy show. So I'm like, comedy show? I'm like, all right. He's like, yeah, I want you to host it. So I'm like, I'm cool with that. I like telling jokes, whatever. A good friend of mine I went to high school with was in the car business, and he was selling cars. And he hit me up on Facebook. I was like, yo, bro, I want to, ticket to the show. So I'm like, all right. I met him at the dealership, and I'm like, where's Eugene? That's my man. Shout out to Eugene. I'm like, where's Eugene? I'm like, boss man. Oh, he's in the back. I'm like, boss man. So I go to the back, he in his office. I'm like, bro, what's up? Like, we went to high school together. It's good to see you, man. He's like, this is for you. Like, man, you should sell cars. And we basically around the same age, a year or two apart. I'm like a year or two older than him. He's like, this is for you. And he's like introvert, kind of laid back a little bit. He's like, man, you should sell cars.
He's an introvert selling cars?
Yeah, right, exactly. And I'm like, bro, but he getting to it. So it's like, this is for you. And I'm an extrovert. I'm all outgoing. I'm all about it.
You're the definition of an extrovert.
Man, bro. So he literally tied me in, and it was funny because right around July, because I started August of 2018. It was around July, we were on a trip, our family trip. He just sends me a resume, like to fill it out for the job application for Cochran. So I sends him all these laughing faces. I'm like, bro, I'm not joining, bro. I'm not joining. And shortly after, the next month, we ran into some bull crap with the job. And I was like, man, I'm just done. Like, I want to go part my ways. And I didn't have no other plan. And I'm like, I'll sell cars. Like, let's just do it. And then from there, it was history, man.
It's crazy how life works, right?
Yeah,
and then having good people in your corner as well, because it's so invaluable, man. Because having good friends is, it's rare. And it's just like he's just a vessel from God. Like, hey, you know what? Life may be a little bit better if you went out and did this, because, even knowing you back in college, you've always been outgoing. So going into the business world, naturally, because you're smart, and then going into sales because, like, you love to talk. Yeah. So it's like, it's a win-win. And now look, man, you look at the success, and it's like, bruh.
Man, no, like, literally, my first month, so August, my third day, I sold a car. Like, and they're like, Darius, you really can't sell just yet. Like, you don't have your license or anything yet. And it was like overflow. Like, the showroom was busy, and this couple just came in. I was like, can you help us? I'm like, well, it couldn't be too hard. And they had this son. He was in high school. He was a junior. He was like 6'4", 6'5", big kid, big as heck. It's like, he can't fit in anything. Like, I'm like, what? We could find something. Next thing you know, I ended up selling them a car, and then it just skyrocketed.
From there, it takes off.
Took off. The next month, my first full month, September, I sold 17 cars. And it was like,
Wait, what?
yeah, right.
17?
17 cars my first month. And then they're like, okay, you know, October came. They're like, all right, well, if you get like 8, 10, 17 again. So November, by the time November came, we was around the, you know, the holiday time and stuff. It was a little more busier. Darius, just do your thing. Go ahead. If you need any help, we're going to assist you the whole time, but just sell. So they kind of just let me go ahead, and I ended up doing 20 by December, and it just went off from there.
Oh my God.
Yeah, man. And it was crazy. Like, you see my shirt, like
Yes,
I
sir.
said, Darius. So it kind of got started. Like, my manager's like, no one says no to you. Like, everyone's saying yes and yes, right? They're like, Darius this, Darius that. And then it's like, Darius. And I'm like, Darius. Like, shout out to my manager, Brian Zielinski. He's like, Darius. I'm like, okay. And then it kind of started like a joke. Like, yeah, you just said Darius to your new car. Oh. And then it's taking pictures. I said Darius to my brand new. I want to take a picture. Now it's people reaching out to me like, Darius, I want to come. I'm ready for my picture. I can't wait to take my picture. It ain't even about the car no more. We talking about you taking a picture with me. Excuse me. It's like we talking about a car. Like, you know what I mean? And then it grew. And then Rob Cochran, the owner, got word of it. He ended up putting it on my business cards. I say Darius on my business cards.
Man, that's dope.
Man, we got these awards. It says Darius Singleton on the awards. Like, it ended up growing big throughout the whole company. And he just was like huge with allowing me to be myself. He's like, man, be yourself. Continue to build your brand within our brand. We love what you're doing.
Man, you gotta trademark that.
Yeah, bro, I know. I need to.
I was gonna tell you to go through the state of Ohio, but you're not in Ohio. I just had that moment. Yeah. No, you have to.
Yeah.
I think it'd be dope. I mean, seriously, because it's your brand.
Yeah.
And of course, they're giving you that space. I think it's amazing, but it's like your brand.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Singleton, what's your slice of the pie?
My slice of the pie. So, I was coming up here and I'm like, maybe I need to ask Jason. I want to make sure I know where I'm going with this. So, when you say slice of the pie, so tell me exactly how, like, you mean like what's my deal, like what I got going on, or?
Yeah, let me explain it.
Okay.
Let me explain it. So, slice of the pie came from the Jeffersons.
Okay.
And I know we both are a little too young for the Jeffersons, but we all seen the sort of reruns, right? Mm-hmm. So in the theme song, it says, I finally got a piece of the pie. Right. So it's when George and Weezy move up to that high rise. George wearing the fly suits. He got the business, the whole nine, and he got his piece of the pie. Mm-hmm. So I just flipped piece to a slice. Okay. So it's slice of the pie is what are you pursuing in life? Yeah. And when you think about before, we expire, that legacy for you, and it's fluid because it constantly changes depending on where you are and what you want to get out of life. But as of right now, like, what's your slice?
Nice, I like that. So right now, where I'm at with it is my slice of the pie is I'm trying to mold myself in this building generational wealth. Seriously, I'm in a committed relationship now. Me and my woman are getting real serious. Neither one of us has kids, but I own my home. We've been making huge investments on that. And then as far as moving forward, me and her talk about, building our house together and then establishing different forms of income, that we can basically build our life together on. So where I come from, the projects and the slice of the pie, you'd be lucky you get a piece of bread crumb or the crust of the pizza pie, So it's been huge for me as far as getting into this car business and building that brand, like I was just saying, and being able to branch off from there as far as using your money to make money, and then just trying to build that and continuously having that to build on is where I'm at now. I always say now is that I'm in this mountain climbing right now, but what's a mountain to a climber, so I'm continuously climbing right now, and I look at it like if we can build this generational wealth together, in a position where we're not starting at the bottom as far as our kids or whatever we want to do from there. Yeah. So it's been huge on where I'm trying to continuously go now.
Man, that's amazing because you're in a position where you don't have to work backwards. Mm-hmm. Because oftentimes it's like we get to this point in life when we're like, I just had enough. Mm-hmm. And now we got to like work in retrospect to get out of the rut, then start building it.
Right.
But with you and your lady, when y'all get married, I better get an invite.
Yeah,
like
for sure.
I'm coming up wherever it
sure.
is. If we're flying out, I don't care.
Let's
Like
do
we doing it.
No doubt.
So when you think about from that perspective, it's like you're in a terrific space, you know, to do so. Especially with selling cars, it's like, okay, great. You know, now I'm starting to build this nest egg. And now we can keep it moving, and which is great. And oh my God, 17 cars. Like no one knew this except for like my wife, because she was my girlfriend at the time. But I sold cars at one point.
Okay.
This was like right out of high school, man, like 05, 06, 05, right before I went to Notre Dame. Actually, right before I went to Notre Dame.
Okay.
But I never, ever in my lifetime sold that many. I didn't get close. The most I got was like 9, I think, in a month. And then one of the old school dudes was like, yeah, man, like this was like 2005. He was like, dude, just go. Like the school and stuff, he was like, just go get like a foundation. But it introduced me to a lot of cool stuff, like a lot. And then you get to drive those cars. This is when the Chargers first came out.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
you rep Dodge?
Yeah, we got Dodge too. Yeah, we got Dodge too.
Let's, before we get into, because I want to walk through what it actually looks like to buy a car like the right way. But before we get into that, what are some of the perks that you get?
So we have what's called Circle of Honor, okay? And what Circle of Honor is you have to sell 220 or more cars in a year. Okay, so essentially if you do the math, it's kind of like 18.333, let's call it 19 cars.
Oh, and that infinite number that keeps running on the
right.
calculator.
So you get 220 within a year. If you do that, they give you a higher salary, so they give you a little salary check. They give you a demo allowance. So you're allowed to have a demo, right?
Now we're talking.
Now the demo has to be the representation of whatever brand you're certified in. So I'm Nissan, so I have Nissan demos. So, you know, the Rogues, whatever the cars may be, you can drive those. And then a referral bonus. So say if, you know, you referred someone to me to buy a car, then I could send you a $100 check. So it would come directly from Cochran right to you for the strength of you referring to me. Whereas if you were someone who wasn't Circle of Honor, it'd just be 50. So they give you an additional perk there too. And then that'll be what you would get as far as like some of the perks and stuff like that you would get. That's kind of free to you in a sense. If you had a car, then you could just take the money. If not, then you could just use the demo. So right now I have no car. Like I don't have no vehicle. I have no car insurance and no car for me. I just do demo. You're on the company's car insurance, the registration, you get a dealer plate, all tagged in.
So you're living the life.
Yeah, bro.
I mean, the expense, and on average, a car note, I mean, especially if something that we'll like, right, will be like 5, 6, and
easily.
So let's talk about really quick. Well, I think that is dope, and I think it's rare, but I think that is so cool.
Yeah.
But you got to earn it too.
Right, you have to earn it. You have to earn it. And I always say that, like my dad was huge on that. You take care of your responsibilities. Like I appreciate my privileges, and I don't disrespect them. You know what I mean? As far as having that privilege of having a demo. Like for instance, you can't take them out of state, so we're in Cleveland, so I just got to use my girlfriend's car. Like we ride up together. But other than that, you know, I'd rather not have no car note at all. Like,
I feel it's an expense that if you can avoid, you should avoid it.
Yeah.
And you own your home, so it's like, oh yeah,
man.
my God, man, this is amazing. This is amazing. So let's talk about let's not even get to the first step. So let's talk about managing expectations when it comes to car buying. So emotions plays a big role, as like we chatted about, when it comes to like our influences, especially for cars, especially in our community.
Yes.
So like I came up like in high school was like 99, 2000, from 99 to 04 for me. So that 99 to 03, so that was the cash money era. So I'm talking about the big chains, big rings, gold grill, the whole nine. And cars, like you gotta have the dope car, right? But that influence like stayed with me for like, until now. I'm not even gonna front.
Right.
It's still now. So talk about, from your perspective, from selling vehicles, how do you manage those expectations for people that want the really nice things, but it's probably not in that position to do so?
I show you. Best way I could do it. Like you come in with this expectation of what you want, and I'm gonna show you exactly that expectation that you had. Okay, I'm looking for a panoramic roof in my car. I want heated seats. I want my heated steering wheel. I want the remote started. I want it to have leather. I want it to massage me when I pull up. I got you. You know what? This car right here has heated seats, panoramic roof, and all that. And then this is what your payment would be. Oh, I wasn't looking to pay that, or I wasn't in a position to do so.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, now that you had that expectation, let's dial back to reality. Let's come into this reality now of what you really can afford, what really works best for you. Because whenever you see that high payment or the high price of that car or whatever you want to call it, and everyone's perception of high is different, but when you see that, then it's like, okay, so maybe I really can't afford this, because you genuinely didn't know. You know what I mean? You were just coming in like, yeah, I want all this stuff, and I don't really know what it costs, but I'm expecting to get it, and that's what I want to do. And the next thing you know, instead of heated seat, all this stuff, you riding out in cloth seats and you got a regular little car and you're happy because it fit what was working best for you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I always tell everyone, like, I don't put expectations on anyone when they're coming in the first place. I don't expect to sell you a car, but I'm going to do everything I can to sell you a car. You know what I mean? And I'm going to put you in the best position that whatever you're looking for, So when people come in, it's always like, almost like a guard's up, you know what I mean?
Of course.
They're almost like, I don't know, you tell me, or I don't know if I want that, or, and it's like, well, just tell me. Like, I don't know what else you want me to do. Why is your guard up anyway? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, just come to me help you, you know what I mean? Like, we're going to build this deal together. So when people have expectations, I just show them what they want. Yep, this is all the stuff that you want. Yep. And then they realize, A, they can either afford it, and yeah, because you could look at someone that come in with sweatpants and don't really got nothing on, and he'd be a millionaire. You know what I mean? So it's like, you might think that he shouldn't be asking for these things, but he really can't afford it. And you may have other people who shouldn't be asking for these things, and they can afford it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So I always look at it like, hey, you might be able to afford it. I don't know. So I'm going to show you what you're asking for, though, and then it works. It don't work, now let's find out what works. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I love that process because it's like, it can be intimidating. Like when you go to a car dealership and buy a car, it's like, oh, I don't want them to sell me something I don't want, and I don't want to go through all of this. I don't want to feel bad, and he knows more than I do, and it's just all those doubts come into a consumer's mind, and you just have to figure out how to absolutely. I think that's dope.
Yeah, man. Transparency is huge. Like the way our whole system is set up for us, like my computer is right there. You're sitting right with me at my desk, and we're building your deal together. Like you're seeing everything that I'm doing right in front of you, and it gives you confidence. It's like you're in the driver's seat. You know what I mean? Like you're steering the wheel to that vehicle that you want, and it gives them confidence in what they're buying. Like they feel a part of the whole process. And the whole time, I'm just an exciting guy. Like we're smiling, laughing the whole time anyway, and it's an enjoyable time for you. And it makes it so much easier, like it's almost like giving you a red carpet, seriously. Because like, I know how I felt when I was getting my ride, you know what I mean? Like I'm excited, I'm ready. I can't
Hurry up,
wait
man.
to drive somewhere. I know, like, oh my God. So I kind of give you that same energy. Like, like I'm so excited for you. Like, you know what I mean? And it helps the process a little easier, I see, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely, because it's like breaking the ice. And then I know, like in sales, we have all these different, ice breaking methods and things like that, but it all got to be tailored to your personality, because if it's not genuine, people are going to be like, yeah, and pass, like this dude's fake or whatever. Okay, so now let's say we're online and we're looking for a car, right? So really quick question, if they wanted to get like that new Corvette, how can would you meet, let's say the Corvette was in stock at first, right? First and foremost, would you meet them at that Corvette dealer, or would you bring it back to like your home-based dealer at the Nissan?
I'll meet them at the Corvette. So if you're getting something brand new, I'm gonna meet you at that manufacturer's location. So if you're getting, a brand new Corvette, we're gonna meet right there instead of coming to Nissan. If you're doing brand new Nissan, then come on right in. Now, a lot of the times the way it's set up, so you say if you're online, for instance, right?
Yep.
So say you're online and you're looking around and you're like, okay, this is the ride I want. For me, I would ask you, screenshot it to me, or, tell me exactly which one it was, send it to me. Now let's say it's in stock. I'm like, okay, cool, it's in stock. So we'll meet there. Now, once we get there, the whole process would be, I'm big on test drives. Definitely want to drive that car. I want to make sure you're sitting there and make sure that car fits for you and it works. Like, this is everything that you looked at. And then from there, it's just the logistics of, what the deal takes place, whether you trade in or whatever you might be doing.
Yeah, so we're going to definitely dive into that because I want to go through the steps. But from your perspective, in a perfect world, what are some things that a buyer can do prior to coming to a dealership, prior to looking for a new car?
Yeah, so prior to even coming in, you could basically, the way I would speak on the way Cochrane's set up.
Yes.
So through Cochrane, the way it's set up, if you pull up online, it'll give you the car, right? And price, give you the price, it'll give you the features of the vehicle and everything. And then on there, we have what's called Number One Cochrane Expressway. It's basically online car buying, right? So it's like you buying a fresh pair of shoes online, but you're buying a car. It'll show you payment breakdowns if you're doing 72 months, 60 months. It'll show you, based on your credit range, what kind of interest rates you may qualify for. If you're above, 700s and getting up into the 800s, you could qualify for special interest rates. It'll show you that too. And then it'll give you a payment breakdown based on how much money you were putting down or any of that stuff. And it will show you pictures of the vehicle. It'll give you, warranty information, all of that stuff. So you're kind of like, I know what I want. Like I done learned everything about this car. It's more so just seeing it in person and identifying.
So you made a couple key points. I know that interest rates plays a big role in your payment, and I know that credit plays a big role in that interest rate.
Right.
So is it true that it goes in ranges as far as different interest rates, or is it by the number?
No, it goes in ranges, I would say, for sure. And like when you talk like that Credit Karma stuff, man, leave it alone.
Oh my God, big tip alone. Today.
Oh my gosh, huge tip for today. Leave it alone.
Tell me about some Credit Karma stories really quick.
Oh my gosh, man, I was on Credit Karma and it's saying I'm at 7, 30, 40, 50. Yeah, it's like, right, this is Equifax, this is.
You see that car?
Yeah. Leave it alone. Stop it, man. They're never accurate ever. Like I've seen it bad, like 100 points bad to, it's never right, ever. So like it comes, some people get thrown off by that, because it's like expectation. I'm expecting that my credit score should be, 750 and I come in and it's really a 650. It's like now reality sets in.
Yeah, that payment gonna change.
That payment gonna change. That payment is definitely going to change.
It's gonna change.
Seriously. Man. And then you have people who could be like a 720 score and really not be a true 720. Like you don't really have established credit. You know what I mean? So really you might look like you're a 720, but you might just have like a little, Dick's Sporting Goods card that you bought a couple t-shirts on and you paid it off. That ain't a true 720. You never really had a big loan.
Or profile,
Right, so you really have no type of history that's built.
So I know FICO has 10 score models, and then there's a mortgage scoring model, and then there's the auto industry score, right? Which is different. And we don't have to get like deep into the weeds of the auto industry score, but I want to talk to you about that in respects of, okay, so when you pull their scores, right? Let's say we found a vehicle, and then now we're doing the application. It's like, what are they looking for in that profile?
So I always try to make it very simple as I can, right? So credit, when it comes to the car, it's almost like, for instance, if I said, your mom was like, you know what, Jason, I need $2,000. That's your mom, right? You're not even thinking about it. If you got it, you get it. I know I'm the same way. Now, we see some random dude on the street. I have no idea who this dude is. And he's like, Darius, let me get $2,000. I'm like, who is this dude? Like, who are you? Credit, the way that they look at it with the car is, all right, how have you paid, this Ally Bank or First National Bank, or how you paid these other banks? What does your history look like in whatever auto loan you may have before? So your home comes into play as far as that goes, like your mortgage and stuff like that, because it's debt to income ratios and stuff that they look at. But those are kind of like the main things of what other banks you've been going through. Now, student loans, a lot of people get worried, like the student loans, they tie in, but it's not as heavy, you know what I mean, as far as you know, your score and what they may take into account. Now, if you're just not paying or whatever, of course.
They're in default.
Yeah, you know what I mean? But like ideally, it's really kind of some of the banks that are all around each other in the sense of those big banks and how you've been paying them. They take in account for that. Because even when you call, sometimes you'll be like, yeah, I got this guy here or whatever, he's looking for a car. I was like, well, how come he never paid such and such bank? You know, what happened with that auto loan that he had before? Or, you know, how come he's not paying on whatever he might have? Like we said, Dick, so why hasn't he paid that account? So they kind of look at those things too, you know, just to see what your history looks like as far as paying.
That makes perfect sense. And from my perspective, I always thought they put a lot of focus on like your previous auto loans and like where you're making those payments and things like that. It's so important. As a financial planner, it's so important that I like people to plan ahead for all of their large purchases because a car is a really big purchase, especially for if we're talking like middle class. To me, that's where I see a lot of people like spending, like a lot of their money goes towards that car, and then they often get these hefty notes that they really can't swing, but they do it for whatever reason. So now we've found the car. Let's say we're coming into the showroom, right? So we saw a car online, and we want to do a test drive. Are you in the car with them, or do they go on their own?
I don't go. I let them go on their own now. So ever since COVID happened, I kind of just stepped back from going in the car. For a while, they wouldn't even allow us in the car at all, you know. And now you can go with them, but I kind of still just allow the customer to go by themselves. Whenever I first came in, it was like huge emphasis on doing a test drive and kind of showing the features and things like that while they're driving. Now I made it a cool thing where I'll turn on all your stuff before you leave. So if you want to see your safety features or anything like that, I make sure they're on. So when you pull off, you kind of get the feel of them. And you can see people when they come back, like, Darius, the blind spot, it was on, and it was like crazy, and I liked how it worked, and blah, blah, blah. And they come back a little more excited, and they have questions for me that we could go into touch base more on. But I don't go on the test drives no more. So I allow them to just, you know, enjoy the ride by themselves. And I feel as though they feel more comfortable, you know, because they're like in the car. Some people do routes that they're familiar with.
Yep.
You know, they're taking their own car and like, I might be taking this, or they go on a route that they're used to. And they build ownership. Like they kind of take claim in that car while they're driving it too. Like on a route that they're used to. And it's like, oh, I'm on a route that I do in my potentially new car. Like, you know what I mean? So it's all, it comes to life for them basically.
Yeah, that moment is crazy, especially when you're in that test drive. I mean, I was just thinking about the last car I bought, and just driving that car, I'm like, oh, this is it. And it's like, you don't have to sell me anything. Like, this is it, right? Like, please don't sell me anything. I don't like salesmen. It was like, I don't like the salesy people. You know, they push stuff on you, and it's like, bruh, like, calm down. But yeah, those test drives are mean. You know what's crazy? An old tactic back in the day was when they'll like when they used to go on test drives with you. The old man, like the sales guy used to have you pull up to your next car, your old car. Is that still a thing?
Well, nah, because like for me, if you have your old car, I like to maximize your time. I'm big on time for people, especially, you know, in a thankful manner. I'm one of the busier salesmen. So if I can maximize your time, I'm gonna try every which way I can. So while you're test driving, I'm having them evaluating your car. If you have a trade-in. So by the time you come back, you know, your car is done evaluated. I already know what you're getting for it, and you're just ready to, you know, do the deal. So now for us, there's surveys that go out. And so you say park next to your old car. I'm more so parked by service. And the reason why is they'll ask you, did you receive an introduction to service? So when you come back, you kind of walk through service already for me. So it's like subliminally, you just met service, and I kind of give you where you would be getting your future car serviced at. You know, so you like pull in, I'm like, yeah, this will be service. So you need the oil change, this will really be coming. Your inspection, this will really be coming. So they're like, oh, okay. So it's, again, taking ownership almost subliminally, like it's just going through their mind. You know what I mean? So I'd rather you pull right through service, and you get the survey, and I'm like, oh yeah, I actually pulled into service when I got back. You know what I mean? It's
Two birds with one stone.
Two birds with one stone.
Absolutely. And people don't realize like how important that service is, because it's like if something keeps going on wrong with your car, it can just be a bad car from the dealer, from the factory or whatever, or if not, when you're getting that oil change, you're getting those routine maintenance, you don't want to be stuck there forever. You want to meet friendly people, smiley faces.
Right.
That whole experience plays a big role. I think it plays a big role. Like for me as a consumer, it plays a huge role. So now we're back. We're back and I see the car, I like the car, and we're sitting down. Now we're having this this one-on-one, right? That people don't like to do. They don't like the one-on-one. So tell me what's happening at this stage.
So you coming back, and instantly for me, you like the car, yeah, you love it to take it home, and then from there we just work out the logistics now. So it's whether you trading in or you buying cash, you financing. We would know from there what you're doing. You know what I mean? So you would then tell me whatever it is that you decide to do, and then we plug and play from there, just putting it together.
So let's say I'm trading in, right? I'm trading my car in, and then you give me that price, and I'm like, what? Or you give me that number, and I'm like, nah, bro, this ain't gonna work.
I ain't liking this stuff.
No, I don't like this number. So what's going on in that space?
I tell you this. When it comes to trades, there's what's called Kelly Blue Book.
Yeah, KBB.
Yeah, KBB. So there is also a Kelly Blue Book instant cash offer. So there's a difference. You got KBB, which gives you a range. So they'll say, okay, my car is worth $10,000 to $13,000. When you go instant cash offer, they get a little more specific on your car. So I tell people, we'll go out, and I'll go out with you to your car. And we'll do a little walk around together. And people start telling you things about your car, about their car instantly, you know what I mean? Because we try to be transparent here, So, what's that on the front of the little bumper? Oh, that's when I was pulling into the driveway and I kind of scratched that. Okay, so you understand that that's going to take a little bit off of your number, I'll get it, open the door, like, oh man, your seat tore. Like, oh, you got that old McDonald's in here, like, those things take off of that value. So as we walking around and together, you kind of build in that number already. So when you go into instant cash offer, you would enter those things. It goes panel by panel of the car.
Does it?
Yeah, it goes
I never
inside
did
the car. Yeah, it'll tell you if there's stains, rips, ask you about your mirrors, check engine lights on. I mean, it gets into depth. It asks you specific VINs, specific miles. If you're the only owner, I mean, it gets serious. And then they'll generate an actual number. Like, Jason, this is how much your car is worth. And this is what we will pay you, whether you bought a car or not. That number is always a lot tighter than that range. Now, once you get that, I'll tell you what, my managers, I have not seen them miss a trade. And I say miss a value by thousands of dollars. Like, we're always in that ballpark of something that someone wants, that you're looking for your car. If you did your true research on your vehicle, you know what I mean?
Right.
You would get that value, and I wouldn't be too off. So I never really had no one like, man, like, bro, Now, maybe if you're looking for $1,000, $2,000, then my question to you is, where are you getting that from? And I always tell everyone, if you don't like your value, sell it outright by yourself. But the benefits that you get, now we're talking Pennsylvania here, I don't know how Ohio's set up, but you would get tax credit from your trade. So for instance, I'm in Allegheny County, that's 7% tax. So you would get 7% of the off of whatever the value you got, okay? So say it's $1,000, that's an extra $70, right? That you would get down towards more money. Now if you sell it outright, you don't get that by yourself. So that's another benefit that you get by including that into the deal.
Yeah, that's a lot, especially when your car value gets up in the tens of thousands.
Exactly. That's a huge number now that you're applying to this. And then you see people whose tax get completely wiped out because they got so much tax credit.
Yeah.
And they're getting such a value. And they're like, Darius, I never knew that. Yeah, that's what you get by trading it in. Right. You maximize that money right there.
That is dope. Okay. So we work it out. That number for the trade. He's like, all right, man, you beat me up enough. We'll just settle on the trade. So now we're getting to this payment, right? And now we're talking like, look, dude, that karma number ain't the karma number, right? So that ain't your real credit score. Because I go through it all the time with people. Like, look, dude, that's not a real credit score. Why my credit score say this and why my credit? Look, bro, like I don't got time today.
Yeah, right.
But now because that plays a big role. So. so when we're writing down these, I know like small wins, right? Or like the little closes, right? So now we're writing down these. Why is it, I'm going to ask this, why is it that you get multiple numbers, like multiple different payment options? Like sometimes they give you 60, 66, 72, or 48, 60, 72. Why is that?
So some people, again, it depends on how long you want to finance, right? So if someone wants to do 5 years, 60 months or whatever, you want to do 72. I like to show you because everyone's kind of different, right? Now, interest is going to change based off those months too. You know what I mean? Like you're not going to get the same interest that you would get for 48 months that you would get for 72 months, because you're going out further, and that changes the way that your interest rate will be. So that payment's going to change too, you know what I mean? So I'm big on, like, I tell people, if you're trying to pay off a car early, and you don't have much difference between 60 and 72, now you won't have much difference from that extra year, then just pay it off, take the 72 and then pay extra money, and you pay it off in 60 anyway. You give you a little comfort whenever you're around holiday time, and you might not have that extra money because your 60-month payment's higher.
It ballooned, yeah.
You know what I mean? So like you take that 72, you have a little resting period whenever it comes to holidays or whatever. But when you got that extra money, you could dump it on there, and then you pay it off early because there's no penalty in paying off early. Right, so you pay it off early.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense because it's like, okay, when I talk to people about like car buying and stuff, I say, look, if you're going to spread out that loan, the rate is going to be higher because it's a more inherent risk. And that's, essentially your credit score is like, it's a risk score, right?
Yeah.
So now when they see that, it's like, look, make sure you have all this stuff intact. So when you do go buy that car, the back and forth and all that stuff, it's supposed to be a pleasant, really nice buying experience because you're not going to buy a car every day or every year. Well, you shouldn't buy a car every year. So having all that stuff in place is like super important.
Easy.
But talk to me about this, man. What happens? So you get the credit app, right? And I'm unsure if this is still how it goes, but it's like if I'm in person, I get the credit app, I fill it out, and then you take it back to like the finance guy, right? What the heck's what happens back there, man?
Everyone always asks that. So it's like once you take it back, they have all these things that they have to do, and as far as basically building a deal, essentially, right? So you have what's called an LTV, which is
loan to value, yeah.
Loan to value, right? So what they want to do is they have to see how this car called book out. So it's like a book out, right? So they have to see how this car books out as far as the value is in comparison to what we're selling it for, in comparison with what the bank would approve it for, So basically they're back there, they're going over if it has a sunroof in it, adds value, if it has heated seats. There's certain things that give you the value to that car, okay? So they do all that, and then what they'll do is they'll attach it with your customer name and all your stuff, your credit score, and then they send it over to the bank. Now, you have the bank over there who is whatever taking the time or whatever for the answer. Now, if you top credit and everything's in line and in place, it's gonna be a lot quicker. You're gonna get an automatic response sometimes. It just be green, like, yeah, this guy's good to go, he's good to buy a car. You have somewhat challenging credit, then now there's things that they have, it's called stipulations, right? So you might get stipulations back. So they may be going back and forth as far as our finance, or talking to the bank, like, okay, we may need this person's 2 most recent pay stubs, or we may need their W-2, or we may need the first time they started their job, if they're new on it, I need an offer letter. So these things are all things that come up that's going on back there because finance is really going to work for you because they
want to sell a car.
They want to sell a car. You want a car, we want to sell a car. There's 2 deals going on, and then the bank's getting a new buyer. So they're making sure that they're checking on their boxes as far as who you are, how you going to pay us for this car, you going to be able to meet this, your loan to value, your debt to income, all this stuff matches. Yeah. Because
it creates so much anxiety that moment when you're sitting there and then you see the new car on the car keys on the table, you see the old car keys, you're like, man, I ain't taking that thing off.
Yeah, right. And it's been cool because like in our showroom, like our finance managers, sometimes they'll come out and, introduce themselves ahead of time. I think that's huge because they come out like, hey, I'm the one that's doing your financial paperwork today. I got everything. I'm going to go, talk to the bank now. So you kind of know like, okay, all right, he has my stuff. He's working on it for me now. It gives you a sense of like that anxiety thing kind of calms you a little bit because you know that they're working for you.
It certainly does, because like a perception could be they're back there just trying to see how much money they can make off of you, right? Because that's just like a perception that people have. But I think that's dope because it makes it personable when he comes out and he talks to you and it's like, okay, this guy gives me the warm and fuzzy that he's going to look out. Right. All right, cool. So now we're cleaning out our car. We agree on a number. We're cleaning out that whip, and now we're getting ready for transfer, right? So during that time, he's putting together this folders like this big, right?
Right.
So what's up with all this paperwork, man?
So I will be honest, I'm not the most knowledgeable on all of the paperwork because it's more of a finance thing.
Yeah.
But you have like your power of security,
all the stuff.
Yeah, like all the paperwork as far as your insurance, make sure all that's intact. The bill of sales. There's endless papers there.
I know, it's so
endless
crazy.
papers.
So what advice would you give to people that goes, because I know the number can change, right? So once you get into the finance office, now we're talking gap coverage, now we're talking extended warranty. I think there's like warranty on tires or rims or something like that, those protections, but specifically with gap and extended warranty let's say for a used vehicle, how important is that? Man, huge. Now, gap, I always tell everyone, if you have a lot of money down, you don't really need it, okay? So gap guarantee asset protection, right? So you want to make sure that the loan to value. So if you're underneath that, then you want to make sure you got gap, because if the car gets totaled, things happen. Now, there's people who I done sold cars to that the car got totaled, parked outside in front of their house, and somebody jumped them and smacked it. You know what I mean? And it ain't like they were even driving. So I tell everyone, man, gap is huge because you don't want to be paying a loan on something of a car that you don't even have no more. Bruh. That's the worst situation I see people in. Like, you come to see me and they're like, yeah, I have this loan. I'm like, well, where's the car? It got totaled. Oh my gosh, you mean tell me you're paying $400 a month for a car you don't even have no more? Yep. So, and with Cochran, when they give you gap, they give you, if the car got totaled, Cochran gives you $1,000 towards a down payment of a new car with them. Get out of here. Okay, so Cochran's huge on that instead of you having to get it through your insurance. So gap's huge, man, huge. Like, you definitely want to get that. So I got my start in like the finance world doing credit. Like, that's how I got my start back in like 2010, right after I graduated. And one of the biggest things that I see is that, and they'll have like 2 car notes, and I'll ask like, why do you have 2 car notes? And they'll say, well, one was totaled and I didn't have gap. And I'm like, gap is so inexpensive compared to 1, your car payment, and 2, the amount of difference between what your car is worth and what you owe on it. Because that gap is like, bruh, we want our bread. Man, I'm telling you, like, I've seen it like 5,000. I mean, you got like this. There's huge gaps. You know what happens? Oftentimes they just let it go, and their credit goes to waste, and now they're stuck with it for I don't know how many years. Yeah, and you looking at when you'd have bought gap, your payment might have been $20 more. $15, yeah, it's the peace of mind. Yeah, you can't pay for peace of mind. Like you can't skip out on that, So it's it's crazy. What about extended warranties? So extended warranties, I tell everyone, for me, as the salesman, I want you calling me, right? I want you to call me. So that's how we keep our relationship together, because there's so many people in the market for a car. You're going to walk past somebody, oh, your car is nice. I want you to be like, go see Darius. I got it from Darius. So the same thing goes with the extended warranty. If something goes wrong with your car, they gonna call me anyway. You know what I mean? Like, there's my whatever. If you have a coverage, then you're fine. So I'm looking at it like, if you have $30,000 vehicle, right? My cell phone sometimes acts weird as far as a button or the screen ain't working or something. Yep. You in a $30,000 car, for you to take a coverage of an extra, again, $30 a month, you know what I mean, on your payment, it's worth it in the long run. Now, especially if you're in a used car, like we talked about, because
who knows who had that car before you? I don't know how they treated it. I don't know what they did or how they kept up with the maintenance, or if they were, a clean person who did everything on a car right. I have no idea. You're taking that gamble. You know what I mean? And then me, the person who brought it in, I don't know what they did either. So neither one of us know. So I highly recommend you cover it then. You know what I mean? You take that little bit of a difference, a $30 more, you know that you're covered. All you paying is your car payment. You know what I mean? I think it's a no-brainer. Some people look at it like, no, I'll do it later, and your car be fine. You might be cool. Then there's other people who's like, all right, I'm going to buy it now because something happened and I want to cover this $2,000 bill and now I want to get it.
I'm all for that, like extended warranties, because it's like, I want the peace of mind.
Yes.
I don't want to worry about nothing. If the light come on, I'm hitting you up first.
Quick.
I'm just going to bring it up there and say, hey, man, what we doing today?
Right,
You got a loaner for your boy?
Yeah. Straight up.
I know, because even if you have a deductible, it's inexpensive compared to what it's going to cost to fix.
It's literally.
It's crazy, man. So this is Slice of Pie. This is a podcast on personal finance and entrepreneurship. So what is one of your financial vices? Well, I can go first. Let me go first.
Yeah, you go first. Go ahead.
All right. So this is like episode, I don't know what, we're in the double digits now. So I've named a different one. So people are going to think I'm crazy because it's like all my vices. So I'm going to say one of my vices is it's like nice clothes. It's just one of my things, you know. So I do go to secondhand shops like Avalon Exchange and all these other places where they sell like really nice things. But for me, it's like having like really nice clothes is so like it's so me. But it's within my budget. But I think that my free money or my fun money can go elsewhere to other cool things. But it always ends up with clothes.
Yeah, and I'm right with you on that. Mine, I was gonna say mine is shopping. I would say fun events in general. Like I'm big on, I don't know how many pairs of shoes my girlfriend thinks I'm insane, but like shoes, clothes, and then us just in general. Like I'm big on one life to live, right? I live below my means, you know what I mean? Like how you saying on your budget and things like that. But in the same sense, I'm like, man, let's just go enjoy ourselves. Like, you know what I mean? Like we're in a position where we can go ahead and I'll pay for convenience seat. Like even when I hit you up, I don't know where the parking is. I didn't know because I'm from out of state or whatever. So I'm like, when we went to the Cavs game, like we're gonna get the hotel right next door to the Cavs because I just want to pay for convenience seat. But it's a little bit more, but for me, those are my vices. Like nice things, nice clothes, doing nice events, going to nice dinners, like,
Absolutely.
Those are some of mine for sure.
It's the balance that you find in life because you can be financially responsible and enjoy life at the same time. 'Cause I know there's some financial people out there that says otherwise, but you can enjoy the nice things like going to the Cavs game, getting dope seats. You don't want to be up in the nosebleeds. Right. Dude, you don't want to be up there with your lady. You know what goes on up there? Right. People flicking boogers and they're doing mad pass, bro. I want to be down with the civil folks. If I want to stay at the 9 or stay at a dope hotel, heck, why not? I don't bust my behind to not live these things. It's just I can't do it every day. but I can. Cool, man. So final tip for someone that's in the market for a car and you want to prepare them for the experience, the Darius experience.
So I would say for me, just do as much homework as you can. Truly be honest with yourself. I think that's the first part. And one of them things I like to say is, man, you don't have to keep up with the Joneses. You know? Like I think sometimes people get caught up with trying to keep up with what's going on around them, what their peers might be doing or anything like that. And it just creates this false reality, like that's really not real for you, and I think it causes issues when you come in. But I think, doing your homework, understanding what's best for you, you know what I mean? And being okay with just having something nice, a nice little car. Like a lot of these cars come standard with backup cameras and stuff now.
Yep.
You don't need all these extra gadgets and gadgets if you can't afford it. You know what I mean? Especially when you're looking at a depreciating asset. It ain't like it's a house where you can add to it and you get your value and you get some more money back. You buying a car, you pull off the lot, it ain't even really worth that no more. You know what I mean? So you losing out on that. So unless you getting a something Corvette, something crazy like that that's gonna hold the value, like, you know, just get you a nice little car and just understand, you know, that this is depreciating for you. You know what I mean? And make better decisions that way. You know, instead of trying to blow your whole check on a car note every month,
Man,
every weekend.
I'll add to that as a final tip, ball on the budget.
Man.
Just because, okay, it's nice to have a Charger, but it doesn't have to be the Hellcat.
Yeah,
you know, or the 392. It can be the GT.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to Hemi, but whatever. You can get the RT if it's in your budget, but don't go out there and try to impress people because they really don't care.
Exactly.
And that monthly payment is every 30 days, and it comes fast.
And it comes fast. yes, it comes
Cool,
fast.
man. Well, how can we get in contact with you? Where can we find you?
Yeah, you can find me. I'm Darius22 on Instagram. Darius Singleton is my Facebook. You know, I have no ulterior names or anything like that. I am in Pittsburgh. I'm in Monroeville. So you definitely shout out to me. But yeah, man, you know, email dsingleton@cochrane.com. It don't matter. You hit me up, whatever you want to do. And I'm going to find a way to help you for sure.
Absolutely, man. Appreciate you, bro.
Man, I appreciate
Later.
you, man.
All right, cool.